This video is a review. It will show you how to solve equations. Remember that the goal of solving equations is to isolate the variable. Isolate means to get something by itself. And then remember, a variable is a letter that represents a specific value. So an example of a variable can be m, x, y, c, or let's say s. So these are all examples of variables. There are very specific steps for solving equations. The first step is to combine like terms if necessary. So examples of like terms, just a quick review. Two examples, or a few examples, would be 5x and 3x. These are like terms. Another example would be negative 2y and 18y. These are also like terms. And then one last example we can say is 13p and negative 12p. These are all like terms because they have the same variable parts, so I can combine them or add them together if they have the same variable. The second step is to use inverse operations, add or subtract the constant first. Remember that inverse operations, or inverse, means the opposite operation. And then we always want to use addition or subtraction first based on what we see in our equation. The last thing, the constant, is a number that is by itself. So for example, we have, look at our two examples here, 5x plus 3 equals 18. My constant, the number that is by itself, is this positive 3 or plus 3. So I know that the inverse of adding 3 is subtracting 3. Those are inverses. And then take a look at negative 3 plus 12x equals 33. The constant, or the number that is by itself, is this negative 3. So to get rid of a negative 3, I know the opposite, or the inverse of negative, would be adding 3. So I would add 3 to both sides to get rid of that constant. So this is just a quick review of what a constant is. Our final step, step 3, is to use inverse operations, multiply or divide by the coefficient last. Again, remember, inverse means opposite, and then coefficient, if you take a look at the examples down here, the coefficient is the number that is attached to the variable. So in 5x plus 3 equals 18, in that equation, my coefficient is 5 because it is attached to x, the variable. So again, coefficient is the number attached to the variable. Take a look at the other example, negative 3 plus 12x equals 33. The coefficient would be 12 because it is the number attached to the variable. So this is we do number 1. 5m minus 23 plus 2m equals 5. This should be copied in your notebook. Remember, the first step is to combine like terms if necessary. I see that I can do the first step because I see like terms 5m and this 2m. So if I combine 5m plus 2m, that gives me 7m, because 5 plus 2 is 7, and I keep my m. So 7m. I can't do anything to this minus 23 because it's my constant and it's by itself. I can't combine it with anything. So I'm just going to keep it as 7m minus 23. Let me fix that. Minus 23 equals 5. So after combining like terms, I have to get rid of my constant by either adding or subtracting. So my constant here is this minus 23. I know the inverse of subtracting 23 is adding 23, so I'll add 23 to both sides. And by both sides, I mean to the left of my equal sign, and then also to the right of my equal sign. So left side and right side. And then if I look here on my left side, this minus 23 plus 23, that's going to equal 0, so it cancels out, and I'm just left with this 7m. So I'll bring down my 7m, bring down my equal sign, and I know that 5 plus 23 is 28. So now I'm left with 7m equals 28. So my third step is either to multiply or divide by the coefficient. So my coefficient here is 7, and then it's saying 7 times m equals 28. So I know that the opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I'll divide both sides by my coefficient, and I get, these will cancel out to just give me 1, so I'm left with m equals 28 divided by 7, I know is 4. So m equals 4. And then to do a quick mental math check, I can plug in 4 for m into this second equation, or into the simplified equation. 7m minus 23 equals 5. So I know that 7 times 4 will give me 28 minus 23 I know is 5. So I know m does in fact equal 4. So let's take a look at we do number 2. This should also be copied in your notebook. Again, first step is to combine like terms if necessary. Here I can see I can combine this 3x plus 10x plus 2x because those are all like terms. They all have the x variable. So I know that 3x plus 10x plus 2x, if I add them all together, this gives me 13, 14, this will give me 15x. I'll just draw a squiggly line there. So I have 15x, and then I see that I can also combine the 2 and the 3. Those are also like terms because they're just numbers, they're just constants. So I know 2 plus 3 is 5, so it's plus 5 because it's positive 5. I'll bring down my equal sign and bring down my 35. So I'll bring down the rest of my equation. So now I have 15x plus 5 equals 35. So step 2 is to get rid of the constant using inverse operations. So I either add or subtract. So here I see it's plus 5. I know the inverse of adding 5 is subtracting 5. So I'll subtract 5 from both sides. And then on my left side, this plus 5 minus 5, that cancels out because it equals 0, so I'll just bring down this 15x equals, and then I do 35 minus 5, I know is 30. So now I'm left with 15x equals 30. And then, so step 3 is to either multiply or divide by the coefficient to isolate x. And here I see it's 15 times x equals 30, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'll divide both sides by my coefficient, and I get x equals 30 divided by 15 is 2. So x equals 2. If I do a quick mental math check and I plug in 2 into this equation wherever I see x, this should be a true equation. So let's do mental math. 15 times 2 I know is 30 plus 5 equals 35. So this is a true equation, so I know x does equal 2. So here are your first 3 practice problems. Make sure you copy them down correctly in your notebook. Complete them following steps 1, 2, and 3, and then you can pause this video and do the problems. Once you're finished, unpause the video, and then we'll see if you did it correctly. So let's see how you did with the first one. 5y plus 7y plus 6 equals 42. Step 1 is to combine like terms. I can do 5y plus 7y. That gives me 12y. I can't do anything with the 6, so I'll just keep the plus 6 equals 42. So then my second step is to get rid of the constant either by adding or subtracting. I know that the inverse of adding 6 is subtracting 6. So I'll subtract 6 from both sides. And then this plus 6 minus 6, that cancels out, so I'm left with 12y equals, and I do 42 minus 6, I know is 36. So now I have 12y equals 36. Again, I want to isolate y, so I have to divide by the coefficient. This is step 3. Either multiply or divide, so I know I'm going to divide because it's 12 times y. The opposite of multiplying is dividing, so divide by the coefficient. I get y equals 36 divided by 12, I know is 3. So for number 1, you should have gotten y equals 3. And then a quick mental math check. If you plug in 3 to wherever you see y in this equation, it should equal 42. So I know 12 times 3 is 36 plus 6 equals 42, so I know y does in fact equal 3. And let's see how you did with number 2. N plus 4n minus 11 equals 19. First, combine like terms. If necessary, I know I can combine this n plus 4n. One thing to keep in mind, if a variable is just by itself, it has a coefficient, an invisible coefficient of 1. You don't usually see that 1 there, you'll usually just see it as this n. So n plus 4n I know is 5n. I'll put that there just to make sense as to why it's 5n. So 1n plus 4n, or n plus 4n, is 5n. I can't do anything with this minus 11, so I'll just keep it. Keep my equal sign, keep my 19. And then step 2, get rid of my constant. So the opposite of subtracting 11 is adding 11. So I'll add 11 to both sides. These will cancel out, so I'm left with 5n. Oops. I was going to make an m. 5n equals, and then I'll add 19 plus 11. I know this is 1, that's 30. So 5n equals 30. And then my third and final step, I'll divide by the coefficient. So divide both sides by 5, I get n equals 6. And then quick mental math check. 5 times 6 is 30 minus 11, I know, equals 19, so n does equal 6. Let's see how you did with the third one. 2a plus 14 plus 5a equals 28. So remember to combine like terms first if necessary. 2a plus 5a I know is 7a, and I'll keep my plus 14 because I can't do anything with it. Keep my equal sign and keep my 28. And then my next step is to get rid of the constant using inverse operations. So I'll subtract 14 from both sides. And I'm left with 7a equals 28 minus 14, I know is 14. And then my third step is to divide by the coefficient, because this is 7 times a, so that's the inverse of multiplying is dividing. So divide by the coefficient, and I get a equals 2. So for number 3, you should have gotten a equals 2, and let's do a quick check. I know that 7 times 2 is 14, plus 14 equals 28, so I know a does